Hi, this is Bob Samuels, founder of TechConnectr. TechConnectr is a marketplace and campaign management platform of best-of-breed account-based marketing and lead generation solutions. We've partnered with the B2B Sales and Marketing Exchange to bring you wisdom from leading account-based marketing thought leaders. To that end, I'm happy to introduce you to Anamika Gupta, Head of Account-Based Marketing and Deal-Based Marketing at Fujitsu America. Anamika, it's a pleasure to speak with you. How are you today?
I'm good. I'm good. It's the end of the week. It's a Friday and I'm leaving on vacation. So absolutely happy. So yeah, it's all going good. Thank you.
It's great. I'm glad you're going on vacation. It's a good time for it, and thank you for taking the time before you leave to have this interview. I'm looking forward to your input. I understand that you're going to be presenting your ideas about how to do ABM for enterprises at scale at the B2BMX, and I think that's going to be a great panel discussion.
Thank you.
So to start, can you give a little bit of a background about your background, in particular, how you've interfaced with ABM in the past?
Sure, sure. So I have been doing. I mean, let me start with the kind of where I all started. I've been doing marketing for past decade and a half. So with my various roles into multiple organizations, I've touched like various facets of marketing, which literally has helped me in my journey until now. Right, from horizontal marketing to vertical marketing to geography marketing, alliance marketing, and now to ABM. Right, which brings everything together, and that's the best. I love it here. So building I have built or ABM for a few large organizations. My last stint was with Capgemini, where I built their ABM practice from scratch, and then now for Fujitsu. So for Fujitsu America, I head their account-based marketing and DBM, which is deal-based marketing. It's been a year of success of establishing and running ABM for Fujitsu. um, I would say it definitely was not a smooth journey, right? I mean, we all understand how ABM could go. So I also, just like everybody, did face few bumps on the road, but as expected. But I should say half my job was done with sales and business leadership buy-in into the concept of ABM, right? Before I joined, that was already there. So I definitely feel that half my job was done there. ABM to me is a culture. It's a mindset, right? So in fact, it is very essential for one to first kind of define what ABM is in a true sense for him or her in the organization. And I did the same in all the organization where I've tried to establish ABM. I definitely have put my effort towards first defining what is ABM, and also creating that culture and the mindset, which does take some good amount of time working with your sales very closely. So that's in brief about me and what I have done towards ABM. Does that answer your question?
Beautiful, wonderful. Yeah, absolutely. So, so I think you when we spoke earlier, you talked about how you need to start right off the bat with you need to define what ABM is, what for you for the what are the goals and objectives you want. Different people define it different ways. Uh, Also, the target audience sometimes is defined as bringing in new prospects, and the other is working with existing clients and maybe getting deeper into the relationships. How do you define ABM?
Very good question, and I love where we are going with this. So, you absolutely hit the nail, right? ABM today has become the most manipulated terms in marketing, right? Just like a couple of years back, it was predictive analytics, right? How people used to use the predictive analytics for everything, and I kind of really compare that. So, in my mind, I think ABM has been abused by marketers, organizations, and vendor alike, all of them kind of looking to win business by misrepresenting, altering, and repackaging more of targeted demand generation marketing and positioning that as ABM. So, as I was speaking before with you, is as you kind of as we take that approach of getting ABM into an organization and starting from scratch, establishing the framework and approach, it is very essential to define what is true ABM, what does ABM mean to you in your organization? And it will differ based on your organizational goal. Because if you understand what is your organization goal, you will understand what type of ABM you need to bring in, and maybe ABM is not the right way to go at that point in time. Not necessarily ABM is the answer for all the things we do, right? They may be like targeted demand generation is the right answer. So it needs to be first determined that what my organization goal is, how marketing, because my major question when I kind of do these kind of activities is how marketing or my team can help sales excel. That's my basic question. When I answer that, I from there I move towards that how what is that I need to bring in to help sales kind of excel. So what is that approach? What is that framework? Right. So going back to the original, like what is ABM? And I'm going to actually read this statement because this is what I believe in. It literally will have a couple of very important points, and I'll kind of reiterate that as I'm speaking that statement. I'm kind of reading that statement. Account-based marketing is a long-term strategic approach. I mean, in bold, long-term strategic approach that requires marketing and sales to work as partners, not just together, but absolutely as a partner to achieve one common goal. And that one common goal could be either open doors or deepening engagement into given accounts. In a simple term, if I can say land or expand, right? Or land and expand, either, or both together in the high growth accounts, right? So few things. It's a long-term strategic approach. Marketing and sales has to work as partners with one common goal in the high growth accounts, right? So there are four key points into what is ABM. In fact, as per ITSMA, only 8% of the market exclusively practices ABM by its true definition. So I always think of ABM as a kind of a journey, and the key to success is understanding customers and their maturity to imbibe the change, and then take them on that journey. Right? This will build trust and confidence along the way, strengthening relationship and creating conversations needed to win big together. So as I was saying, this is a long-term journey. That's when you try this. That's where the most of the time is taken when you bring ABM approach into your organization, and understanding first of all who is my right set of the accounts I need to go after, because not every account you would like to touch, right? You really need to know who is the right account, who has got the propensity to buy, not just that, but propensity to buy from your organization. And that's how you define what my right set of accounts are. When you define that, you need to understand you're not going to go like in every buying center right at like at just in your first shot. You're going to find out what is the buying center where my first assistant will be. So you will find that out working with your sales very closely, and then you will target that particular buying center to achieve what you're looking for. Right. So it's like understanding your audience, understanding what their challenges are, what they're facing, how in my case, I think Fujitsu can help them. Right. And then you kind of think about engagement. So engagement comes as a third step for me, like how I can engage that audience. Engagement could be, I mean, people talk about emails and retargeting and targeting, but these are, in my mind, these are some of the puzzle pieces which fits in the bigger piece of that engagement puzzle when you pull together. It all depends on how your customer is going to digest the information. How can you grab their attention, right? Because if I don't know if you may have heard, our attention spam has actually been shorter than goldfish now. One of the study kind of proved that, right? It was 12 in the year 2000, and it has come down to 8 seconds today. So that's kind of attention spam you're talking about with your audience. So you really need to understand what is your, or if I really need to get my attention spam of my audience, I need to understand them, right? It's like what they're looking for. What will help them win? not just me, but what will help them win, what kind of challenges they are facing, and is this the right time to target? So it's the right time, right messaging to the right contacts, right? That's what matters, and that's when you decide what could be the engagement approach in this particular context. Once you do
Okay.
that, now it's all about the reporting. So it's kind of a reporting is probably the fourth or the fifth step into that entire ABM process.
Mhm. Well, that's wonderful. So I guess the tricky thing to me is, how do you know what their key challenges are? Do you ask them? Do you do surveys? Do you look at their behavior? Third party, first party.
Yeah, in fact, we are in a very good world right now. We have so much of technological advancements, right, which we can just go ahead and just leverage. So, there are a couple of ways we do that right now. Is one is absolutely the most important one is the sales insights itself, because in your existing account, your sales is much closer to your clients and they have much better insights which really can help you in the process. The other one is the market intelligence. So my company has got a very large market intelligence group in-house, and they help us in my research as well, which is mostly secondary research. It's not a primary research, mostly secondary research involved in there.
Mhm.
That's the second one. And the third, which we are moving towards, because and I'll give you the probably one of the cases is, if you're trying to do ABM into, let's say, top 10 accounts into your organization, it is very easy to spend time into each one of them and understanding them one by one, and what's going on. And you leverage your third party data, you leverage your market intelligence, you leverage your sales insights. But when that, if you're trying to move from that 9 to 10 accounts to, let's say, 50 accounts or 100 accounts, right? Because if you're moving from one to one ABM to one to few or one to many, that tier structure, if you know, right? You really need to kind of bring in the right technology to help you to scale there, to know. So that's where I think the technology comes in, right? Which will, with the intent data, the signals, and which can help you at a scale into all these accounts. So in my mind, technology is absolutely essential, but it becomes more important as you kind of move towards the hybrid structure of ABM.
Mhm. Beautiful. So it makes sense. So how do you identify the specific people within the prospect company, or the target company, and the different personas? And I imagine there's a whole buying committee, and each one of them has their own pain points or their own focus.
Yes, very good question. So they definitely do have, and it is not an easy process to identify them. So we do use right now we are in the process of getting the right technology stack, based on where what exactly is going to fit into our Fujitsu tech stack, because we have some already, but not in terms of the real time intents which we can get. So that's what is in works right now. But in our one-to-one ABM activity right now, we work very, very closely with the sales and the market intelligence to understand that buying center and who we actually need to target. So we actually do their social profiling, who is working on what kind of challenges. It's a very in-depth study which goes in there along with sales to understand that buying center and the people who we need to target.
Makes sense. So you mentioned technology. So and you also mentioned I guess you're using some, and you're researching and going to get more. What kind of technology are you enjoying right now, and what are some of the things that are catching your eye as things you'll be wanting to look to expand to use?
We have some very basic, because of the kind of ABM we are running. This is very high touch, very personal one-to-one ABM into our top accounts, which actually brings 80% of our business. So our effort into these accounts is very, very you know uh, I would say not so much technology, but personal effort which goes in there working
Hmm.
with the sales, right? Um, but we are in the process with the success of with a 1 year success within Fujitsu. We are seeing the demand, so we are getting pushed to move towards more of the hybrid structure, because we need to add more accounts. So I'm trying to move from one to one to few. That's my next step within the organization with the large number of accounts which is coming. So that's where I'm looking forward to add tech stack, the right tech stack, which will help us into the sales enablement, which is in my mind relationship, then engagement, which is reputation, and the next, which is analytics, which is revenue. So relationship, reputation, and revenue together, which can help me bind that together and give me one single view and help me make make this process seamless, is what I'm looking for. So my research around technology is more towards if you understand, every technology is important, every technology is awesome, what's there in our tech stack for ABM. But we do need to look at the technology in a way that what's going to work in my culture and in the mindset which my organization is, the way we consume technology, and what kind of goal we are looking out for, right? So it's been a couple of months that I have been talking to multiple vendors and understanding what's going to fit into Fujitsu organization with the current tech stack we have, and how the new tech stack is going to talk to the current tech stack, which is not too many, but still they are very important. One of them is our CRM, which is Salesforce, right? It's very, very important to be kind of talking to the Salesforce, which is the single source of truth for us. So yeah, my focus is more towards bringing the right technology, which is going to fit into our Fujitsu organization.
Makes sense. So, and then Salesforce is a key part of it, so it's got to interface with that at the end of the day. So what do you see as far as challenges? Fujitsu is obviously a global company. GDPR, Castle, and now California is going to be having their own privacy regulations. What are you seeing as the challenge of those as far as affecting your outreach?
I'm sure that it is definitely impacting us at some level, but not as much as that, because our effort is not targeted demand generation. We are not going to the mass, right? It is an ABM, and this is a one-to-one ABM. So here is we are serving existing clients. We do already have their opt-ins, right? They know us, we know them. And if we have to reach out to the new buying centers, we know the process, because every organization, every enterprise is different. So for example, in most of the companies, we go through the procurement because that's our gateway. But then we follow the process to kind of make sure that if we have to target the new buying center, what could be our process. The most important bit, which I love, is like into existing clients, you can find your sponsor. And when you have your sponsor from the client side, it helps you kind of, go deeper, and make it much more relevant for that particular client without having worried about these kind of laws, because now you're buying their buy-in to have us go in front of them and tell more about Fujitsu, like how we can upsell or cross-sell. So I think it doesn't impact us as much as it would impact the targeted demand gen marketing.
Right, exactly. Because you're already dealing with people, you have a relationship, and they've got a business interest of listening. So that makes perfect sense. Thank you.
Yeah, and with that said, it doesn't mean that we don't have to. We do have to follow. So we do look at those policies, and we do keep all of those in mind, just to make sure that we are following every bit of it as we do the reach out, and kind of make sure that that's kind of compliant.
Mm-hmm. Okay, makes sense. So as far as reaching out, what kind of channels or means do you reach out? I assume you reach out by email, maybe you call folks. Do you do any kind of programmatic or any kind of targeted display for your target accounts, maybe a different web presence when they come to your site? Any kind of special channels that you use to communicate?
We use a lot of high touch marketing strategy. right? Because this is an account, again, this is one-to-one approach in our current scenario, and as we move towards one-to-few, we'll introduce more of those targeting and retargeting and ads and everything else in there. But because this is one-to-one approach, our effort is very, very high touch marketing strategy into
Yep.
those accounts. This is very, very personalized, very relevant, very timely into those accounts, and it's created only for as small as our audience of 10 people, or
Yep.
at max 25 people, right? And it is kind of created with their intent. And I made this point towards the start of this conversation, that you need to understand how your clients digest the information. So it's not so much about the technology, it's not so much about the digital, it's not so much about the marketing flashiness of like how edgy your reach out is or how cool it is. It doesn't matter till the time is like if you understand how your clients digest the information. So in some of the cases, my clients love to see the emails. So we kind of have more of the component of the emails. In some, they just hate emails, right? It's like I just can't have so many emails in my email box, right? So usually we try to bring in, like, we go from hologram to virtual reality to augmented reality, very high touch direct mail. We also incorporate some of the very targeted digital and social media, right? All of those things come into the picture, but the mix of all of these is dependent on how that particular group of audience is going to digest the information and how I can grab their attention. That's my key focus versus the what channel.
Yep, makes sense. So your presentation's on how to do the ABM enterprise at scale. So I assume that talks about going from the one-to-one to the one-to-few to the one-to-many outreach. So how does that change your strategy? How does your technology change? What are the key things that you need to do to be able to get to the one-to-many, if you will? With the limited resources, I guess.
Yeah, that's one of my presentation, and I would start with by saying that I still kind of believe in that 80% of revenue comes from my 20% of my clients, right? And what that constitute of, even if if when I understand that who are my those 20% of my clients and what maturity level they are in, and that's when I kind of decide which structure, which ABM tier they needs to be fit in. So per my sales structure, which is pretty new right now, and we are working towards this, we kind of put them into the category of strategy, grow, and develop, right? So and those are the one which forms my probably most of my 20% of my clients, right? So if I have to give services to all of those enterprise level clients, it's more about, we are established at one-to-one. We were going to go with what we are doing right now, which is high touch and very, very personalized approach into those accounts. But as we move down towards one-to-few or one-to-many, as optimizing ABM to scale, it will be through the right set of technology introduction into our ABM tech stack. And that's what is in discussion right now. So I would be talking more towards like, what Fujitsu is doing at the enterprise level accounts and how we plan to scale this to include more number of accounts by introducing that hybrid ABM tier structure. And we would, as I said, we would do this by bringing a hand-selected set of tools, not too many, not too less, but something which will work into my organization with the mindset and the culture we have, with how sales consumes and how they kind of use these technologies. And we're going to bring those in and put that into place so that we can scale effectively.
Okay, makes sense. So this is very good. I'm enjoying this. So I've got one last set of questions, unless I've missed some things. But can you tell me a bit about what's your prediction of how things are heading? You've had some experience in the past of ABM. You've seen some changes with the technology, the intelligence, the privacy issues, and so forth. What do you see as going forward in a year and 5 years from now? How is that picture going to be as far as the ABM as a mindset, as a culture?
ABM is a marathon and will be a marathon versus a sprint, right? So there's no shortcut to ABM delivering success. But but you can scale ABM by bringing right use of technology. So in my mind, as I get to the predictions part of it, in my mind, AI is and will help ABM scale effectively in a true sense, right? And this is why I say that, like building and delivering a truly personalized, insightful experience for 8 to 10 accounts is feasible. But as you grow that number to 50 or 100, it's hard to build relevant messages and campaigns without more in depth knowledge on the account. No human can cost effectively do that much research, right? So that's where AI supported ABM can deliver that one to one experience at a scale by converting data into insights and action. So different companies are at different maturity level in the journey to leverage AI, but AI would play a critical role in scaling ABM. And business should, in my mind, I think my prediction would be like, or my recommendation to my colleagues would be that business should start evaluating that their current and future state now and gain leadership commitment and secure budget approvals. And identify gaps and areas for which capabilities can be built in-house or a partnership to be forged with leading vendors that can help realize. But you need to start thinking about AI into your ABM tech stack.
So the AI would basically looking to AI to deliver actionable insights so that you can create that one-to-one experience at more to scale than you could otherwise.
I do believe that, yes.
Beautiful. This is great. So I want to get you off on your vacation, but is there anything else that, any words of wisdom that you can share now? Otherwise, I look forward to seeing you at the event.
No, I love this conversation today. Thanks for having me here, and I look forward to seeing you at the conference too.
Beautiful. It's a pleasure. Thank you for taking the time and sharing your wisdom, and I look forward to seeing you at the B2B MX next month. Take care.